Okay, hey everybody. This is another week of our team training and inspiration. I've been loving these calls and featuring you guys and all the things that you're doing that are awesome on your teams so that you can help the rest of us. And so we have a lot of new people that joined us this past month, over the last couple of months, and a lot of them are starting to share. And the thing that I think a lot of people get caught up in, especially when they're starting to work this as a business and they're not just sharing with a couple of their close friends or family anymore. They're really trying to make it a successful business, as we all, have been in that place. It's important for them to understand what that means to treat this like a business. And it's not just posting willy-nilly online. It's not just like waiting for your Aunt Sally to message you about Plexus, right? Like that's not what happens when you're going to treat this as a business. And something that I think is unique about our team is that a lot of our top leaders of our team, myself included, have built really successful businesses on, yes, consistent social media presence, but also consistent reach outs. So getting in your potential's inboxes, creating those connections on a continuous basis, on an everyday basis, and continuing to build those relationships, reach out about Plexus or reach out about personal things or whatever. The thing is, I love that our team hasn't been afraid of the direct message. And I think that some people, when they're first starting, can be like, wait, I don't want to like reach out to people. I'm not sure what to say. I don't know what to do. Like, it's a kind of foreign territory for people a lot of times when they're first starting. But it's necessary to kind of get past the fear of that. I think the fear of that comes from a fear of the unknown, because we don't know what the other person is going to say, what they're going to think, all of that. I think that that's a little bit of what that stems from. It's kind of like that uncertainty makes us uncomfortable. Because we want to know what's going on all the time. We want to know the answers. We want to be confident in something, and we want to know what the other person is thinking or what they're going to say and all that. And so I want to kind of lift that fear off of you or anyone you might be working with, and change your mindset about that a little bit, in that most people are not going to reach out to you. Most people are going to sit and they're going to watch and they're going to watch and they're going to watch and they're going to watch. And they're probably not going to comment on your post, because whatever they're dealing with in their health is probably something that they don't want to talk about publicly. And they don't want to comment on someone's public post about it. Or they're too embarrassed to reach out to you about it. But I've had countless people come and say back to me when I reach out to them, thank you so much for reaching out to me. I've been watching you and I've been really curious about it. I have XYZ health issues, right? And it's about serving them. We have something that we can offer them that's going to help them. And if someone else is struggling, why would you sit back and let them struggle when you have something that could help them? And so if we kind of look at that as, we're being selfish if we're not sharing this, right? And kind of take that fear away from it and just offer it to everybody. And if they want it, that's okay. And if they don't, that's okay, right? I just want you to see, you and everybody on your team, to understand that if you're not reaching out to people, and you're just posting on social media, you're really just providing third-party validation for the person that is going to reach out to them. You're providing all the marketing and advertising and the promoting. You're doing all the legwork for the person that is going to reach out to that person, that is going to talk to that potential. Because the second that someone else reaches out to that person, they're going to start conversing with them. They're going to start developing that relationship behind the scenes. That potential is going to start telling them their health issues, and they're going to start dealing with that person. I've had people tell me that, oh yeah, I've been seeing my friends post about that. I've been wanting to try it. And I offer them a sample, and then they end up on my team. That has happened to me before. And I know that other people on social media, they were the ones doing all the marketing. I mean, sure, they saw one or two of my posts, but other people were doing it. But I was the one who reached out to them, who cared about them enough to get over my fears and help them. So do you kind of see how that mindset shift can put you in a better place to reach out to people and kind of get past that? I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know what they're going to think. Honestly, they're not thinking about you. They don't care about you. The second they read your message, they're probably moving on to the next thing. Their life is so busy. They don't care about Plexus. They don't care about you. They don't care about your business. They want to know how what you have to offer can help them. So when the way you're reaching out to them is coming from a place of service, a place of wanting to be helpful, a place of care for them, that's totally different than a pushy salesperson, which we do not want on our team at all. And I am so happy that none of you are like that. And I think that's why our team is so successful in building those connections in the inbox, because we have a way of reaching out that's coming from a heartfelt place, and not a sales place, right? And so I just want you to know that reaching out behind the scenes is just as important as posting on social media. Posting on social media is basically just the open sign of your business. But like, imagine if you had a brick and mortar store and all you did was like put a sign in the window that you were open. Like, that's it. You just sat there, you opened your store, but you didn't like go out and talk to anybody. You didn't go ask if anybody wanted to shop in your store. Nope. You just like opened your door and turned on your open sign. That's all you're doing if you're posting on social media. If you're not going out into your community and speaking with them and developing relationships and asking if they're interested in the products you have to offer, you're going to get nowhere in your business. So it's necessary to be reaching out behind the scenes. And somebody, and Becca, that's why I had her come on today, because she's done this so much in her business. And I know a lot of us have, and a lot of our other leaders that aren't on this right now have done that. We've built our businesses on reaching out. And the thing that I love that what Becca has done that makes her a little bit unique is that she barely had any social media when she started. So not only did she have to build a social media presence with what she was sharing on social media, she had to build her entire network. And then she had to reach out to her network, right? So it was like a lot of us started off with several hundred, Facebook friends or Instagram followers, right? I had a handful. I mean, I went to college and friended all my college friends. I was in the Greek system. I had sorority friends. I had high school friends. Like, I had friends on Facebook. Like, I was present on Facebook, active on Facebook when I started, and that was great. I had a pool of people to reach out to the second I started. But not everyone is like me. Not everyone is like you. And so I want you to be able to hear from somebody who kind of built their business from the ground up and has done it really successfully and tactfully, and really created, a defined presence on social media. Like, we know what she's all about because of what she posts. You know what I mean? Like, we get that she loves health and fitness and she's a dog mom and she, you know what I mean? Like, you want to know that. You want everybody to know the 3 to 5 things that you are all about. And she's done such a good job with that. And she's built her network, and she's continuously growing her network. And she's going to share a little bit of the reasons or the ways that she's been able to do that, and how she's been able to reach out to those people, have conversations with them, and in turn get them to join her team. And so I will kick it over to Becca, and she can give us just like her story, how she built her network, how she's kind of built her social media, and some tips on how she started. She's been in this business for a little over a year now, and she's just rocked it. And so I'm excited for her to kind of give you her experience, starting literally from ground zero and running this, business. That's amazing. She's gold. She's going to go senior gold any second now. So anyway, go ahead, Becca.
Thanks, Allie. Hi guys. I think I know most of the people on here. I'm Becca. I'm a gold ambassador. And like Allie said, it's been a little over a year, close to a year and a half. I started in January of 2019. I'm actually Allie's nanny, and took like a year, but I finally tried some samples and really loved them. So that's what got me started. Just a little bit of my health story and how it's helped me. I have IBS and hypothyroidism, and have struggled with anxiety for most of my life. And I won't get into details, but my IBS is pretty much non-existent now. I'm off my hypothyroidism meds, which is pretty incredible if you're not familiar with it. It's something your doctor tells you you're going to be taking for the rest of your life. So to be able to get off that and still feel really great is amazing. And I'm also off of my anti-anxiety meds too, which is a huge win. Those can come with so many side effects that aren't fun. So I started sharing pretty quick. I started noticing how much it was helping with my IBS, which I've dealt with since I was really little. So I instantly was like, wow, this is the real deal. And I actually, yes, I had no Facebook. I hadn't had Facebook in a couple years. I had Instagram, but like posted once every 3 months or so, and was not present at all. And so I got Facebook just so I could see Allie's team posts. Like, I had no picture, I didn't share anything, I had no friends, I was just on the group to get the info, and that was it. And I remember Allie saying, like, people are like, who is this Becca person that doesn't even have a profile picture? And then I realized how much more successful I could be if I got that up and going, and how much I really wanted to be able to share with people more. And I think at first, I felt definitely uncomfortable with sharing so much because that was new to me. I had been pretty private. So many people are like, what, you live in Oregon? Like, when did that happen? You know, so many people had no idea where I even lived. And so it's actually been really fun to be able to share more about my life, and it's helped me build connections with other people too. And so when I started, you know, I wasn't sharing on social media. I basically, Allie was like, I want you to follow these 5 people. These are, you know, top leaders on our team. They post consistently. And I literally was just copy and paste with a picture of myself. And I think sometimes when people start, they can get super overwhelmed and feel like they need to write out like these super elaborate, like really long posts. And like, that's just totally not necessary. I think it's important to tell like some of your story, but like, it's okay to just go you don't have to like reinvent the wheel. You can just go take somebody else's posts. There's lots of great ones out there. And Allie had started doing these power half hours. And I don't remember like the exact chunks of time, but it was like a certain amount of minutes interacting with people, a certain amount of minutes reaching out, following up, adding friends. I think those are the 4. And so I started doing those with them. And that is what taught me like what the important things were to do. And I was teaching full time, and I literally was spending 20 to 30 minutes a night building my business. And so, and that's when I built the majority of my business. I went gold when I was still working full time. What else? Let me think. And I did reach outs. Yes. Reach outs is primarily how I built my business, which I felt super uncomfortable with at first. And I think a lot of people can agree, like, it can feel kind of scary at first, putting yourself out there, and, you know, like, what if people say no? And what I've realized is, like, it's totally fine if people say no. I'm kind of to the point where, okay, that's fine. Like, it's not for you right now. That's okay. And you just move on to somebody else. There's always somebody else who can benefit from them. And there's always somebody else who is going to want to give them a try. But one thing I have learned is that just because somebody says, I'm not interested right now, that doesn't mean that they never will be. And you shouldn't necessarily just like cross them off your list and not worry about them anymore. I have added people to my team who have told me no, and then eventually like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, I definitely need to give this a try. And that was because I continued to build a relationship with them. You know, and then not talking about Plexus, just interacting with them, seeing how they're doing. And so that has been really beneficial too, to just make sure I'm always going back, circling back to those people. Then last fall, fall of 2019, I started doing a challenge group. And I believe this one was a workout one. And so I was just sharing like 20-minute workouts. And I got the idea because like Noelle, who's on our team, does them. A lot of people do them. And you can do all different kinds of challenge groups. I've seen gratitude ones, squat and water ones. There's just so many. You can do a meal prepping group or a journaling group. And that has really helped me a lot. I was telling Allie that I realized that 4 of the people that I added to my team last month are actually people that I added into those challenge groups in that fall group. And so since then, I've just been interacting with them, building a relationship with them, and I became somebody that they trusted and that they wanted to that they trusted and just were willing to give them a try at that point. And so those have been super beneficial and have been really great for adding to my network. I had no Facebook friends a year and a half ago, and now I have like, I don't know, like 1,200 or something. And so it's always great to just keep adding people in. The more people you have in your network and on Facebook, the more people that are going to see your posts, and the more people that you're able to build a relationship and interact with and hopefully add to your team. Let me think. One thing, and we learned this or they talked about it a lot at our Align retreat with Brooke Hemingway in January, was really leading from a place of caring. And I think I already did that, but I did at times, like it made me realize that sometimes we can be really quick to the sale, especially if you have like a goal you're trying to hit, you're running for something and you're so pumped and you don't really realize you're doing it. And so I've made it a point to just really get to know people, fully understand what it is, what is their life like? How are they really feeling? Do they have kids? Are they working? Are they sitting all day? Are they drinking pop all day? Like, I want to know everything that's happening in their life so that I can recommend the best thing for them. And that I'm not just recommending products, but also helping them maybe incorporate some healthier habits into their life. And so that, I think, has really helped. I reached out to somebody from a interest group who I wasn't even friends with, and she posted about how she had IBS. And I cold messaged her, just reached out to her and said, hey, this has worked really well for me. It may or may not be for you, but I'd love to just send you a little sample for you to try it. And I sent her a sample of Slim. And when she gave me her address, I realized she was from Illinois, which is where I'm from. And so we had like this whole conversation about how I taught in Illinois and where we're from. And so I was able to build that relationship with her, and she joined my team last month. And so I think that just taking that time to connect and really talk to people can be really beneficial. Allie, can you think of anything else? I hope I didn't ramble.
No, that was good. No, I was just seeing if you had anything else to cover. No, thank you. And I want everybody to see how much you realize, like, you have to grow your network. Like, you have got to, like, at some point you're going to talk to everybody, right? Or if you're sitting there waiting for everybody to talk to you, you're going to be waiting a long time because most people are not going to reach out to you. And so even if someone you see says they're struggling with IBS, or they're really trying to lose weight, or they have sleep problems, or whatever the thing is, right? Don't be afraid of offering something that could help them, right? There's that whole analogy, you've probably heard this before, but if you're sitting, on a park bench with a friend of yours and they're like, oh, I have the horrible headache, and you like have a bottle of Advil in your purse, are you going to keep it to yourself? Like, how mean is that to keep something that could help somebody to yourself? And so I want you to think of that when you see somebody struggling, or you're kind of watching someone who could really use what we have. It's okay if they're not ready for it, but a lot of times they are. Like, a lot of times they are. And also I want you to understand that you think people are thinking about you in a certain way, or thinking about Plexus or whatever, and they could care less. They are not thinking about you at all. And so when you message somebody and they don't respond, or days go by and they don't answer and they don't even read it or whatever, do not get discouraged. And often I notice the people that I have to kind of reach out to again, maybe 3 or 4 days later, hey, I'm thinking about you again. I just realized I didn't hear back from you, blah, 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 right? It's important because a lot of times they're like, oh my gosh, yes, I meant to respond to this, but I read it, got busy, da, da, da. Like, people are busy and they're not like ghosting you on purpose. Usually they're just busy and they don't come back to it because they forgot about it or whatever. Just like we forget about text messages, right? So I think sometimes we think we're bothering people, and we're not bothering people. They would tell you if they're bothering you. Like, they would flat out be like, no, I'm not interested. Please don't contact me. And I've only had like 2 people ever. I've been doing this for 4.5 years and have thousands of people on my team. Like, I've literally only had maybe 2 people I can think of that said that to me. And so I do a lot of messaging just like Becca does. And so I want to kind of take away the fear of that and understand that you can come from a place of wanting to be helpful. But in order to do that, you have to have the people. You have to have the people to message, right? And so that's why, like on our team, where I'm doing that activity challenge, we're making a list of 30 people, because I know I've done this years, long enough. I know that only 1 or 2 out of every 10 people is going to be interested in what you have to offer. And that's okay. And we should be aware of that. And you should know that. So then when you go 2 weeks and you only message 3 people over the 2 weeks, the odds of one of them being interested is very slim. It's very slim. So I think it's easy for us or even our new ambassadors to get discouraged when they're like, oh, well, I asked my aunt and my next door neighbor and my best friend, and they're not really interested. So nobody I know is interested. It's like, you barely talk to anybody. Like that, you have to set the precedent and set expectations very accurately. That's why everybody I'm trying to get started with the bonus this month, they're making at least a list of 10 people. And that's kind of our first round, right? To get them a quick win. Like one of those people is going to be mildly interested, probably, right? Even if they don't end up being an ambassador, there's somebody who might try a sample, might buy a challenge box, might go to an online event, right? They're showing some kind of interest. And I think that's important to realize for all of us too. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that we all had enough people to work with this month. If we're trying to go for 6 and get the enrollment bonus, you better be talking to like 30 to 50 people. And you got to take a second and look at the people that are in your network. And if you don't feel like you have enough potentials right now, you have to go find them. And so I'm happy Becca mentioned interest groups and her challenge groups that she's doing, because I know that when she started Facebook, she probably went through and was like, oh, I know this person, like she legit like knows people. She had 0 Facebook, right? So she could go through and like, here's my family, here's my friends, like that kind of thing. But it's important to go back to, your friends' connections and acquaintances and old colleagues, old classmates, your siblings' friends and all that stuff. It's important to look at those community connections. But then a lot of us, our bread and butter is Facebook interest groups. And yes, you can sort of do the hashtagging thing on Instagram. If you want to rock Instagram, go rock Instagram. I am not the Instagram guru. So that is not me. You will not find that from me. Yeah, there's a lot of trainings out there to like rock Instagram, rock the hashtags, and find people and develop relationships. And obviously I'm trying to do that. And hashtags are like, they're essentially a search engine, and a lot of people are searching them and following them. And that's a great way to make new connections because it allows your content to pop up on, the public feed if your profile is public. So definitely do that. But and those are essentially little interest groups in themselves. So if you're hashtagging something super specific, it's people who are of that interest, right? So it's essentially Instagram's answer to the Facebook interest group. And so I am all up in the interest groups. I am asking questions in there. I'm engaging in there, and everybody I'm engaging with, I'm sending them a friend request because they're in that interest group because we have that interest in common. So we have a commonality. So I know that they will relate to me as a person. And I know Becca's doing that in your like workout groups. And are you in dog mom groups? Is that you? I know Jory some or something, right? Somebody, yeah. So
yeah.
And so whatever you're talking about in there with those people, that out of the group, you're going to have those interests in common so that when you share things, they're going to relate to it. So it's important to find people who are like-minded with you, whether it is, I'm in some cooking groups, and I'm in some cooking groups. I'm in some boy mom groups. I'm in due date groups from when I had my kids. I mean, like that's my wheelhouse, right? Or those people. I'm not a personal trainer, so I'm not in fitness groups. Becca is helping me in that area, but I want you to really pay attention to the type of people that you're growing your network with, beyond your immediate social circle, right? Because we're all going to get to the point where we've talked to all of our immediate friends. We've talked to their like acquaintances. We've talked to our coworkers. We've talked to our family. Like that's going to happen. I mean, I've been in this for 4.5 years. Like I've grown my network like every 6 months. It's like this new kind of generation of people. And so now it's something I want you to be doing constantly. Like every single day I'm adding new friends. Every single day I'm engaging in interest groups. Every single day I'm looking at my friends list and thinking like, oh yeah, I went to college with her and there was all these other people in that class let me go see if like she's friends with any of them, and like, oh, I know him, I know her, you know, like I'm doing that every single day. It needs to be a part of your IPAs. And it's people you have commonalities with, mutual friends with, all of that. That's important. And remember that as these people are watching your content, do not be afraid to reach out to them, because you never know who the person is that's going to be like, yes, thank you so much for reaching out to me. I have been watching you. I've been curious. That literally happened to me 2 days ago. I cold messaged like a dozen people that I had never talked to before. But we had been friends for a while and been engaging with their content and stuff, but I'd never mentioned Plexus to them ever. And 3 out of the 12 were interested. One of them is enrolling tonight, and her husband is enrolling as well. And she wants to work the business because she's heard about it and thought about working it because she's seen people share about it. And it was more than just me. She had previous friends. She said, yeah, my friend used to do it in the past. She doesn't do it anymore. I've been thinking of going back into it, and I want to start working the business. Me and my husband want to sign up. And you literally have no idea who that person is going to be. So you have to remember that those people are out there, and it's just a matter of finding them. So bye, Dory. She says bye. I don't know if she's probably gone already. Yeah. Anyway, does anyone have any questions or something that you like, I don't know, you want us to comment about? Anything? Everybody's so quiet. Hi, Brittany. I just noticed you hopped on. Oh, Phaedra, do you have a question or no? No, she says no. Okay, sorry, I'm like watching everybody's faces. Sometimes people try to talk.
Maybe I'll ask a question.
Yeah.
In the interest groups, like I notice every time I go to join one, it's like no cold messaging, no reaching out, no doing any of this stuff. So do you just ignore that?
No, so the way I am present in interest groups is that I'm in there to find people that I can relate to. Okay. And so I'm asking questions, I'm engaging, I'm replying to everybody. I'm not everybody, like, you know, don't spend your whole day in there. But the point is I'm in there, and the people that I see are, you know, commenting on my stuff, like they relate to me in some way, or I'm commenting on their stuff. I will send them a friend request.
Okay.
And so then most people accept your friend request. Some people don't, which is their prerogative, whatever. So I send them a friend request, and the second they accept my friend request, this is my workflow. I go to their profile and I add them to a non-Plexus friends list on Facebook. You can add people to different lists.
Okay.
And I have a non-Plexus friends list. So now they're on that. And so what I do as a part of my workflow, my daily IPA, I go to that list. And you can do this on a desktop. You can't do this on a phone. Or if you went to the desktop version on your phone, you could. Of Facebook, you can go to that specific list, click on it, and your whole news feed becomes only non-Plexus people. Only people that I added that are like potentials, right? So I will spend 15, 20 minutes purely interacting with those people. So commenting on their stuff, shooting them a message about anything that seems relevant, whatever. Sometimes people are asking like specific recommendations and things. Watching their stories, which if you can answer things in their stories, that goes straight to their inbox. So getting your name in their inbox boosts the algorithm big time. So I'm not messaging them like from the group, if that makes sense. So I'm not like cold messaging people like straight from the group. I have them, now we're friends, they're on my newsfeed, they're seeing my stuff, I'm engaging with their stuff. And so then if I see something that I want to message them about, or if they're just somebody I feel like we've been talking for a while and I feel like I could reach out to this person and it would be well received, then I do that. But they're already like on my personal page for like months, you know? So that's my workflow, and that's how I constantly have like a cycling list of potentials, and they're all on that feed, my Facebook friends list, the like non-Plexus one.
Okay.
So that's a really easy way. If I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go shoot out a bunch of cold messages, I can go scroll that feed and see like who I would feel like I should message, you know, that certain day or whatever. So yeah, but yeah, a lot of them are like no advertising your stuff, don't message people, don't whatever. And so obviously don't break any rules. I don't talk Plexus at all in any of them. It's more just to find people to grow my network that are going to be similar to me, so that my content is relevant to them. And so that when we connect, it is going to build a relationship because we're similar. And a lot of my people are moms with little kids. A lot of our team is moms with little kids, because like a lot of my level ones are, you know what I mean? Like that's,
I mean, especially A, with everything going on right now.
Mhm.
B, even though like she's my second, and I did the math, if I put her and my son in full-time daycare when I go back to work, I'm literally going back to work just to pay for daycare and to keep my career going until they're in school, and then I'll start making money again once they're in school.
Right.
Literally my entire paycheck will pay for childcare.
It's
And so
crazy.
what else can I do?
Right. And I think so many people are in your scenario, your same situation right now too. And it's like, there's such a simple system to being successful at this, especially Plexus. We have the messages to send out. We have the exact conversation to have. We have all of us, all the sponsor, all the leaders, like we can all help with like recommending products and troubleshooting products. It's just if the person is willing to do the work. It's when people are like, I don't want to reach out to people. I don't want to post on Facebook. Like it's that's the part that's getting people into trouble. And we're like, well, there's only like 5 main things to do every day. And it's like, post on Facebook so your business is open. Like reach out, follow up, grow your network, maybe some training, right? Like that's probably like the 5 things that everybody just do those regularly. But where people get stuck is like, they don't, either they're paralyzed with that fear of uncertainty,
Yeah.
or they don't know the next step. But I want everybody to feel comfortable asking what to do next. Like, I want to work my business. Tell me what to do. And that is what I want people to feel open to do on our team. Like, I love when people come to me and ask me, like, what do I need to do next? Like, what am I supposed to do in here? Because I don't know where people need help unless they're asking me, right? Like, they're just like sitting in silence, not knowing what to do, but I don't know, but if somebody's like, okay, I want to work my business today, what do I need to do? And I can be like, sweet, these are the things that you should do, right? And we have, pinned in the announcements on our team page, we've got a first message all the way through the close of an ambassador, right? We've got a whole conversation there, like on our team page. We've got onboarding, like how to get people started, add into the team page, ask them about their water, set their expectations, send them how to start their products. Like, we have how to start all the products, like on the Be Healthy Plexus page. So it's like, we have all the things, but I think sometimes people don't know where to find them. And
Yeah,
and ask.
I mean, I've been an ambassador for over a year now, and I had like my first 3 or 4 people that signed up from the gate, and none of them are still using the products because they had various reasons that they didn't like them or whatever. And that's it, because I'm the person who's paralyzed. Like, everyone that I message, I think I'm so busy and so consumed with my life that I suck at keeping in touch with people. And so if I'm going to message people, it's a cold message. It's like, I've known you for 15 years, but I haven't ever talked to you on Facebook other than interacting with your posts a couple times here and there. And so I get like 99.9% no's. Like, people don't even want to hear more, or they don't want to sample. They don't want anything.
Yeah. And sometimes that's the whole like relationship building piece, It's like, and everybody's got a different level of influence when they come into this, right? Like, some people, haven't been pouring out to others very long, you know what I mean? Or very often. And so it's this whole mindset of everyone's got kind of this relationship bank, right? And so we are either filling other people's banks or we're depositing from their banks. And so over time, throughout our life, everybody's been making deposits in other people at a different rate, right? So when we go to cold message somebody, if we haven't added value to them, like, there's not much to pull back out of that, right? And so that's where you kind of have to be like, okay, have I added to this person? Like, does this person have trust in me? Does this person respect me? Like, I don't, every relationship is different, obviously. But I think it's important to like be putting out valuable content on social media. Not that it needs to be groundbreaking, but a constant presence is important. I think when people, even if it's not anything revolutionary, being a consistent presence on social media shows people that you're consistent and you are trustworthy and that they could do business with you because you're serious about what you have to offer, right? So even that's something that little, but then taking it a step further and having regular interactions, like, that's why I had us all make the list of 30 and like, okay, by the end of this week, you will have interacted with all those 30 people and you will have messaged all 30 of those people in 1 week. And so then you could do it all over again next week, because if those were your hot potentials for May, you can start over at 1 and do it all over again, and you're having regular, consistent interaction with the same people. I want you to not forget about the importance and the I don't know how to describe it, but like the importance of giving someone that notification that somebody commented on your post, somebody liked your post, you have a new message, like, right? There's psychology behind that, right? The little badges that something's in your inbox and somebody, did something, reacted to something, we all get a little rise out of that. And so that's important to give that to other people. So I don't want us to take that lightly. Like, you're giving people that feeling of happiness, right? And so that's important too. That constant interaction is important. Not only will they get to know you better and form a relationship, but you're also giving to them emotionally by providing something that's going to give them a feeling of happiness, because we all want to be recognized and given attention and liked and all of that. And unfortunately, social media has made us really susceptible to that, but that's your business. That's it. That's your business. So it's like you have to, so what Becca was saying, the power half hours, I'm going to start those up pretty soon here. I'll announce that we're going to start doing them regularly for the rest of May. The power half hours, they do have the 4 activities in them, and you're growing your network, you're engaging your network with your network for a set amount of time, and then you are reaching out to your network, and then you're following up with potentials. And so
I was literally just gonna suggest that, Allie. I was just gonna suggest that, because I felt paralyzed at first too. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what do I even do? Like, and then I was just like sitting there like scrolling Facebook and like had no idea what to do. So it helps so much to have that chunk of time, especially when you have kids at home, and trying to find the time is so hard. But when you're like, okay, 30 minutes, this is what, boom, 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 I did my IPAs for the day. Like, you did those essential things. It really helped me a lot.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize how much you can get done in that short of amount of time when it's really focused effort. I think people get lost when they're like scrolling, and they say they're trying to find somebody to message, but really they're scrolling and like commenting on their Aunt Sarah's post, and then they're, like, they get lost in it, right? But if your leader, I'll be that person, if your leader's like, hey, you've got 3 minutes to go friend 10 people, boom, you're going to go do it, right? And so I think those power half hours are really, really powerful, because it's like someone else is giving you a task that I know it's going to move your business forward, and I'm here to help you, like, kind of keep everybody on the right path, right? And so that's why I'm really excited to do those again, because we haven't done them in a long time. And she's so cute, by the way. But that's why I'm excited to do them again, to offer my assistance in just keeping everybody on track. And those power half hours collectively offer an opportunity for people to say, oh, this person just responded to me, what if I message back to this person? And we can like live chat, like, oh, this is what I would say. It's like this live coaching. So I'm excited to start those again. And for the people that do feel paralyzed or they don't know what to do, it offers some like just rigid like instruction, like, okay, do this, do this, do this. And it started a lot of people on our team off on a really solid foot when we were doing those regularly. So I'm excited to start those again. And kind of just give people tips for growing their business and keep us all in momentum, because it's going to be a huge month. Anybody else? No? All right, guys, this was awesome. Oh, 45 minutes. Way to go. Okay.
Allie, did you record it?
What? Yes, I did. This is recording.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, you can rewatch it. Okay. Thanks, guys.